what, say what, say what.
Hey, y'all.
Why
What's
you
up?
whispering?
What's up? What's up? Hey. What's up, y'all? And welcome to another episode of the Perfectly Incomplete Podcast. I am your host, Imogene Simmons Kelly. You can say that Jean is in the building, and
I'm your co-host, Toni. And it's just Toni.
And this is Toni. What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for joining us again. We got a really interesting topic tonight. What we are going to be talking about is gender inequality.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? That's a hot one. And so I think, well, everybody knows what gender inequality is, right?
I mean, I think it's just a broad, concept.
You keep saying, I'm going to need you to talk a little bit more. Why don't you define what it is? You're getting paid not just to agree with me, okay? You're going to do some work.
I do.
All right, so can you tell them what gender inequality is?
Gender inequality is when you are
Why are you
discriminated
looking at
against.
me? Look at them.
Why would I look at them if I'm talking to you?
Because I'm always talking to them too. This is about them.
But if I'm having a conversation
Look, I don't want you looking at me.
Oh, well.
All right, go ahead. My goodness. Shandolo Kasunda. All right, come on, Toni. Well, gender inequality.
Gender inequality is when you are discriminated against based off of your parts.
Your gender. Right. And I think everybody's pretty much aware of that with all of the movements going on. And just to put it, to be more specific, like, for example, there's gender inequality and there's pay inequality. Like men make more than women doing the same job. For example, my numbers say as of 2016 that for every dollar that a man makes, a woman makes 80 cents. And then those same stats from 2016 say a black woman makes 73 cents to that dollar. So there may be current statistics, but those are dated 2016.
Okay, because from my understanding, it was women make 70%. Well, 70 cents to every dollar that a man makes. So pretty much where our numbers lie, it's anywhere between 20 and 30% less than what a man makes, right?
Right. But the bottom line is we're not being treated equally based upon our gender and our race. And there's a problem with that. And I think, that has a lot to do with, it's all about roles, this thing called gender role theory. But what it breaks down to, all these people who started this country and wrote the rules, they said how women should behave. And their excuses to justify it is that men are built a certain kind of way, so they're stronger. Women are built a certain kind of way. So they told us the kind of jobs we should have and what we should do.
Well, I'm glad that somebody else knows my capabilities.
Exactly. But that's really where it stems from. And it's based, if you trace the history, you look at it, women mostly did domestic chores and they did childcare. So society lists, and it's a group of powerful, the dominant European male is the one who set these standards. And white people, okay? That set these rules that said, this is the role of women. This is what they do. And so that's where the issue comes from. Now you flash forward to 2019, right?
Yeah.
Is that a problem? Does that stuff still fly?
Absolutely. I mean,
it does?
Well, does it fly? No, but it still occurs.
Absolutely.
I misunderstood your question.
Okay.
But I mean, it's just, I don't understand it still. I don't understand how we still live in a world where this is considered acceptable. And why is it still something that, we're still tolerating? I think that's my issue. It's that why are we still tolerating? Why aren't we as a collective unit, as women, saying like, I'm not going to accept this?
And I think we are. And that's a good question. And just, let me just deframe it. Look at the situation that's going on with Monique. You all know her from the Parkers, and she's a comedian. And she had an issue last year with Netflix. And I don't know if you guys saw her interview with on the Breakfast. What is it?
The Breakfast Club.
On the Breakfast Club show, talking to Charlamagne Tha God and the other people, and they called her out. And basically, the essence of her story is, she was trying to get a show, and they wanted to pay her little or nothing,
Little to nothing.
Little to nothing. And long story short, she called it as far as being gender discrimination, and she's topped it on with race discrimination.
As well as ageism as well.
As well as age. And so she came out, she called it. She called the people on it, and then people always putting twists on why they can justify why they ain't paying you for this, paying you for that. But I'm with her based upon what I heard from the interviews. Yeah, it's obviously enough. They were discriminating against her, and yeah, not only because she's a woman and she's black, but because she chose to stand up for herself and say, I'm not with it. And she called it what it was.
Right. In addition to that, I feel like what, excuse me, was the most hurtful is the backlash that she received from her own community. And where it was one thing for, somebody else, it was one thing for the other to tell you that, okay, this isn't acceptable what you did, so you can't work with us. It's another thing for your own community to come to you and say, oh, what you did was not acceptable. You made it difficult for other people.
Right.
We're not going to work with you either.
Right.
So it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
And, I can relate to Monique. I'm not in her income bracket. Not yet. But y'all keep watching. Y'all keep watching and I'll get there. But I have a problem with that because Monique explains herself, and granted, she's a legend.
Right.
She's a freaking legend. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to offer her $500,000, and she compared herself to some other people, but she called it. And she's like, and I think it was sad. I watched some of the interviews with Steve Harvey and somebody else. And believe me, I'm not focusing on the celebrities. I'm focusing on the issue. And my point in discussing this is to say how stuff like this affects the self of how we operate. So I was really, really pissed off because she stood up and said, hey, this is not right. They were devaluing her worth. This lady is a legend. You hear me? Mm-hmm. And so they're trying to justify why they do whatever. $500,000. Do you think she's worth that?
I think she's worth obviously she's worth a lot more than that. Let's just be real here. Let's just be completely honest that she's absolutely worth a lot more than $500,000. I'm pretty sure she pays for that just to get her feet done.
Yeah. And then for them, for them to say, okay, well, we're going to give you this 2 years. You can't work nowhere else. You can't do no comedy or nothing.
That was weird, too. But what type of agreement is that?
It was one of those moves.
For 2 years, I can't work, but you only going to give me $5,000. Like, do you know who I am?
It was one of them imprisonment moves. And, if you know the history, we're not going to give you a black history lesson. But like, we're living in times where you got all these different movements coming up, people marching and stuff like this, and they getting together. And I'm glad. But this is one of these moments. But you know what really pissed me off with her situation?
What? For
instance, some of her colleagues in the industry, they agree with her. Monique, I don't think you was wrong.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you was wrong, but basically, maybe the way she handled it. I know she was on stage and she told them they could suck her, blah, blah, blah. If there was this, she called out some people. I get it. She's human. She's hurt. You know what I'm saying? When you devalue somebody, you're hurt. You feel me?
Right.
But then to have her own brothers and sisters, who does well, to say, oh, I agree that you're right. But then when you get in the public, it's like they dish you and say, oh, you're right, but I can't say this in the public because this ain't going to be politically correct.
Do you think it was a matter of political correctness, or was it a matter that they had their own bag to secure?
I don't know. But when I think about these people, their bags are secured. The people that she was talking to, their bags are secured. They are gurus. I don't think it's anybody here that can really stop them. Because I think had somebody else said the same thing she said, they could have got away with it because of their status. But what really, really hurt me was because they devalued this woman and they gave her reasons why we're going to pay you this. They compared her to what's his name?
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock.
They compared Chris Rock to Dave Chappelle. And then when she was talking about how she was a woman, they were just like, oh, but we have what
they were talking about numbers and stats and what have you done?
Amy Schumann and all these other people. And it's just like, well, this doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't.
Because they're not on the same level as I am.
They kept deflecting it. And so regardless of whether this lady Amy Schumer is relevant, this chick is a legend. A legend is a legend, right? So I agree with her. And then just the way she explained it, they didn't want to talk to her and all of this good stuff, playing little games, trying to justify it. So, Monique, I'm with you, girlfriend. And I'm really proud of you for standing up and calling it for what it is. And when you do that, guess what happens?
You get blackballed. That's what she said.
Yeah. Have you actually experienced that?
Being the unpopular opinion? No. Like, I don't think I've ever been like, quote unquote, blackballed. I've been excluded from things because I didn't feel the same way as other people. I've been considered, an oddball because I didn't agree with certain things. But I don't think I've ever been blackballed. Like someone said, don't go to Toni because of this, this, and this.
It's, to me, it's like still a mentality of slavery. I'm just calling it what it is. She called Steve Harvey a house nigga and said what she said. I can relate to it because it's like this. All right. If she feels like she's been served an injustice, right? Whether she right or wrong, if she feels that way, she has the right to call that out. You understand what I'm saying? And I see the way Monique carries herself. She's a very calm, diplomatic young lady. And for them to try to offer her this price and offer somebody else, I don't care how relevant it is. I don't care if she sold out stadiums or whatever. You cannot, a legend is a legend is a legend is a legend.
But that was my thing. When they were talking about her selling out stadiums, y'all didn't put her in the position to even do that.
That's what she said. And her manager husband said,
because at the end of the day, if you would have put her in that position, she would have did it.
But I got to give Monique, she's standing up for herself. And for what's even bigger for me is that as we talk about self and loving the self and having self-esteem, can you imagine the effect that something like this could have on somebody who's not strong like a Monique? Right. So Monique is catching backlash, but it was like, damn if she do and damn if she don't, because she called it out.
Right.
She called it out, the powers that be. And they're not available to talk or whatever the case may be, but she called it for what it is. And that's what she believes in. And you should stand up what you believe in. But what's really sad to me, her brothers and her sisters saying, oh, I believe that you're right, but you shouldn't have done it this way. And I'm like, when do we unite? You got all of these movements and stuff like this, but because you getting a paycheck, you good. You're right. Like, I got mine. So
I can't help you.
And that
don't make no sense.
But that's the way I read it.
That doesn't make sense to me, though. It never made sense to me how I can have, and there are people out there that need, and because I can't give to who need me. You know what I mean? So, like, for instance, when my family calls me and they're just like, well, Toni, I can't go with you here because I don't have money. If I have money, you have money. You don't have to worry about that. You never have to. You don't have to worry about fighting on your own because that's the reason why we're a community.
Right. And that
so
bothers
why is it
me.
that when she came to you and she says, look at what they're doing to me. Help me. Pretty much showing complete humility to these people.
With me. Stand in solidarity
Help
with me.
You know, they if they do it to me, they'll do it to you.
Right.
Pretty much. And they're just like, no.
And that's what it boils down to.
That.
And you know what's relevant? And I'm talking to y'all brothers and sisters. What's really relevant? We're not in Hollywood, and it takes place everywhere.
Absolutely.
Everywhere. Government, private sector, public sector, not even non-profit, even volunteer organizations. I've seen it happen. Okay. If you've got somebody who's really, really thriving, and subliminally, maybe that's what it's about, because you got these big power players. You're the one who calls the shot. But you got somebody who's really, really thriving, whether it's your brother or your sister, they get treated foul, and then they speak about it, And then because, they say the squeaky wheel gets to grease the oil or whatever, but other people are trying to be politically correct. Other people just wimps, you know what I'm saying? And I can relate to this really right here in this community where I live. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? And that's foul. It's be like, you're the one who speaks up. You know it's not right. You call an injustice an injustice. And then you got people, oh, she's stirring up some stuff. I don't want to be a part of that.
Well, you got to stir the pot a little to get to affect change. They say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
Yeah. And I agree with you. It just bothers me. And I'm so passionate about it because I'm like, we're talking about sense of self. We always talk about acceptance. You hear the big words as diversity, inclusiveness, and acceptance, right? Well, if you're accepting me for who I am. And I just happen to be Black. I'm a little radical. We're animated. Mm-hmm. Just to dispel some of y'all stereotypes because people have, and I don't eat fried chicken. I've eaten and I like it. And I don't like watermelon. I'm just putting that out there because we talk about inclusiveness. No, I'm just keeping it real. You heard?
You really, I never knew that you ain't like watermelon.
No, I don't.
Oh, wow.
But, I'm just saying, I'm just mixing it all. I'm mixing it all together because it all boils down to the same thing. You're devaluing my worth because of my gender. And then when you, on top of what my race, that's what we call intersectionality. Mm-hmm. You're using two aspects of my identity to rag me. So I'm just letting you know, I don't eat watermelon and I don't eat fried chicken. But, I've been in that place before. I'm trying to hold on to my sense of self and be proud of who I am. Uh-huh. And so if somebody's treating me a certain kind of way, and I think they're being discriminatory, I got two choices. I say nothing, and then the fight is going on inside of me.
Which is worse.
Yeah, because I'm conflicted with what I value and what's really happened, or I hook up with them and deny myself. And my sisters and my brothers.
Right. That's a double entendre for you. That really is. And now I'm thinking about it in the way that you just put it of it's either me or them. Because that's the way that's just the way I received it. And if I had to choose between me and them, I would choose me any day of the week.
Absolutely. And you know what? I would choose me too. And even if like that blacklist, I can relate to that. I'm trying to get contracts right here in my community. Work that I've done, that I've actually opened doors for people, and they walked right in. Because maybe I was too radical, because I don't want to be politically correct. Damn that. I'm tired of being politically correct, I know where I came from, our history and stuff like that. I'm not playing no games anymore. This is my life. But I see people who do it, They get up and say one thing, and then I see them with the little powers that be, and all of it. And I'm like, how can you do this? Because you got a little title, you got a little position. I want to say you like an Uncle Tom. But it don't even got to be like a black person. I've seen white people do it too. Sell out. We down for the cause, and I'm like, how can you do that? So no, I can't roll with you. And I got to call you out. And then when I call you out, I'm the bad guy. Like Monique is getting lowballed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I commend her because she's standing up for her thing. Anywho.
Right. Well, my question is, do you have a question from the audience?
I do.
Yes.
How would you deal with being in a work environment, when somebody that has your same skin color is gender discriminatory?
They're the worst ones. So what his question was,
I don't remember the question.
You didn't hear him?
No.
His question was, how would you deal with someone in the workplace that what?
That is the same color as you, as far as the same race as you, like somebody who's also black. Gender discriminative. That is gender discriminating you.
Basically, how do you deal with people hating on you in the workplace that look like you?
Right.
Smile. Smile and do my job very well. And actually, I'm going to show you how I do my job very well. That's just who I am.
And, it works like that all the time. Just to throw this in here, it's interesting that you asked that because, even with the concept of mentoring, that's one of the tools that you use supposedly to close that gap, to close gap with discrimination.
Okay.
So supposedly if you have a woman in corporate America or wherever, if she's at a higher position, then she's in a place where she can bring up somebody lower, and try to get them in positions where they're deserving of. But then you got a lot of females that like, why should I help you? I'm here. I got mine. That goes on a lot, and then if they do break the glass ceiling, they have this thing called the glass cliff where they'll get you at the top because they know stuff is failing and then they'll push you off. For instance, and that's the new concept. I've
never heard of that.
You never heard of the glass cliff? And
no,
there's a sticky
I've
floor.
I've heard of the glass ceiling from when I was back in school and I took a women's gender and sexuality studies course. It's an introductory course. So, of course, they went over the generalized terms. But I've never heard of the glass cliff. Can you just explain that for me?
Yeah, what the glass cliff is, the glass ceiling is this invisible barrier where minorities...
and women.
A woman is a minority.
Oh, okay.
Where minorities can't penetrate this invisible barrier into the higher echelons. And, they give all kind of reasons for communication stuff, all kind of stuff. But what it boils down to is stereotypes and prejudice. Then they have this concept now of the...
glass cliff?
The glass cliff. Whereas you'll take a company who's doing bad, they're performing really, really bad. And so the board of directors is getting ready to get rid of them. And what they'll do, there may be this outstanding woman who just should have been holding that position a long time ago, but because they're failing and they don't think they can turn it around, they'll pick this woman and let her assume this position, thinking that she's going to fail. So it's almost like setting them up for failure.
Oh, yeah. Lord.
So, yeah, and it's real. But what bothers me, I'm an advocate for social justice and all that good stuff. But my thing is on the individual, I'm looking at the impact of how it makes one feel. So not only last time we talked about intimacy versus sex.
Right.
And we was like, and I think we left the podcast with the question, why would you settle for sex when you can have intimacy? And for me, it's the same kind of concept as individuals, we deserve the best for ourselves. And so that bothers me with all the other things that we're dealing with, and we live in this community, this society that says, oh, we're all about diversity and acceptance and inclusivity. And it's a bunch of bull, but it's the same groups of people that are being continuously wounded. It's minorities. It's me. It's you. And I don't like it. And I commend Monique because she's standing up. She's catching the flack. And, I just bring that up because I'd want to say, let me let you talk because I'm just going in.
Well, I think that when it comes down to it, gender inequality is obviously
Go ahead, girl.
It's obviously unfair. But in addition to it being unfair, it's also one of those topics that kind of hits home to anybody on any particular level. Like earlier, you said that for Black women, you said it was 73 cents.
It was
to every dollar?
The last for 2016 stats. That's what it said.
Okay. So it's just like, all right, cool. So we have this situation where we have kind of Black women also being devalued themselves. And for me, just me being a Black woman, that pisses me off. Because I know for a fact that I can work harder than any white person any day of the week. Probably 3 times as hard, but I will always be probably a quarter as good in the eyes of either corporate America, or even if I am an independent, I will still be considered a quarter as good as my white counterpart.
To them, and really, we don't really give a damn how they consider us. Even the Constitution.
I do, because I need to get paid.
No, but see, then I need to speak life into you, and if you look at it, that's why so many women are starting their own businesses. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're doing it a lot for that same very reason. And yeah, you are just as good. But if you take it back to even the people that wrote the Constitution, they had it in there that we were 1/3 of a person. I think right now they have it that we're 2/3 of a person. That's the way people see us. And I get it. We live in this society. But what I would say to you and everybody else out there, yeah, we know we work extra harder, and we're strong and we're all of those good things. Mm-hmm. Hence slavery. That's why we're here. All of that. It's all about economics, right? And we're not no junk. Because we came with skills and knowledge and expertise and everything. Just study your history, people. American history cannot be history without Black history. And I'm not turning this into no polar thing with races, because I don't really care what color you are. Asians are get discriminated against, just different groups. But for me, I have a passion for us as women because we're powerful things. We raise families, we teach values. We do all of that. We even support our men. You know what I'm saying? Mm. And so for you to bamboozle us like that, but I'm saying to the individual lady, whether young girl or whatever, be tough enough to know that regardless of what society says, that because you have this gender or you have this race, you're less stuff. That's a bunch of whack stuff.
Well, what do you think that does to a person mentally?
It just,
Like, what do you think that does to a person in their self-esteem? When you actually see it, like, in front of you, blatantly in front of you. How do you come out of that? How do you come out of, you're sitting there and, they're showing it to you dead in your face, what it is, just what it is. And, they're telling you that, you're not good enough. You can't just be like, oh, yes, I am. Well, that's a whole power play.
That's
mentally.
what Monique did. And she got blackballed, right? Basically, that's what she said. Mm-hmm. I've done it before around here, and I'm like, well, fine. I just won't get your opportunities. I create my own. But I have enough pride, not that I'm so prideful and arrogant and narcissist and all of that, but no, I'm not going to let you take my worth from me. You've done that long enough. I don't want to be with the flow. So I'm going to preserve my self-congruity. I'm going to let my values line up with how I'm acting. And it's a tough life. Hey, I've been living it for a long time. You know what I'm saying? But no, I'm not going to let you take my self-worth. I've gotten to the place where my self-esteem has been low. From systems and just people and offenders and all of this stuff, right? And, with the grace of God and the help of people, I've overcome that and people have poured into me. And it's been a lifelong thing just to let my country or my government or my local municipality just make me feel like that. No, not going to happen. And that's where you have to dig down and say, damn who they say I am. I know who I am. I know my worth. And that's me. You can come pop some junk to me. Like people will say to me, well, they say I'm so unapproachable. No, I'm not unapproachable. But if you know that you ragging me behind my back and you trying to make me feel a certain kind of way because you intimidated by my intelligence or whatever the case may be, and so to soothe your insecurities, you trying to lower my self-esteem, you step to me, you better come correct because I'm going to eat you up. And they may be put me on the blacklist, but you're not going to take from me who I am. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm straight up.
No, that was a word because I felt that.
No, I ain't with it, and it happens.
You always be speaking some real stuff to my
talk
soul.
to me while I cue my song up here, girl. You got to keep the conversation flowing. You bull skating.
Well, no, because okay, fine.
As a young woman,
say that.
What would you say to young women your age and younger? Because maybe they don't see it as an issue. Young people just partying and they want to look good and they got job making money, they getting their nails done. What would you say to young women? Because we just beautiful. Women are just beautiful. You just summed
up my whole generation just like that.
Well, I don't know. I'm still learning.
I mean, dang, you just got it right there because that's pretty much it. That's just pretty much it. Like, if unfortunately, I don't want to shake the box too much because whereas you are older and you can pave the way yourself to do stuff, I still got to do certain stuff in order for me to be able to provide for myself.
Are you providing for yourself now?
I am trying my best.
But you're doing it, right? So,
I am trying my best.
I'm not even going to have that argument. Everybody has their journey. But even I'm providing for myself. I have lived in shelters. I have lived in cars. My kids have bathed in rivers, all kinds of stuff, regardless of how I got there. But from what I hear you saying, you sound like, I'm
scared. I'll say it.
So, yeah, you sound like Steve Harvey right now. So I need to be putting you at my house but you know
like
what?
A hard ED. I am. As a matter of fact, I'm not scared. I'm scared. Okay.
All right. So this is a good conversation because we can agree to disagree, but I need to know why. So you mean to tell me
why am I scared?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because whereas the powers where the powers that be are right now lined up completely against me, I will try my best at this point in time to weave my way through them in order for me to be able to be like, later on, to hell with you. That's where I'm trying to get to. So that I can weave. I'm just going to go ahead and just wade in the water.
But check this. You said you want to
until I get to the promised land.
You say you want to have 5 kids, and we're gonna go hypothetical. So just say I know where you work at, but just say you have your children, and your children are aware that you taking some foul stuff and you letting people treat you unfair and all of this, right? Your kid is watching you, and you're like, well, I'm gonna just deal with this to get to the promised land. What kind of message do you think you're sending your child?
Well, I would tell my child that I'm doing this so that you don't have to do what I'm doing.
Wow. That's pretty deep. And you do know your history, right?
I absolutely do. Because that's the reason why I say what I say. Because I watched my mother do what she had to do in order to raise me.
But we passed that now.
No, we are not.
Hold up. So all of that stuff, all of that marching and civil rights stuff.
We are not past it. That's the problem.
Okay, no, we're not. No, that part, but we have made progress. Even though.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I'm not going to sit here and tell me that you have made progress. Absolutely not.
All right.
If I could sit here and say that my brother is not safe walking down the street.
Check 1, 2, mic check.
If my brother's not safe walking down the street with a cop on the corner, no, we have not changed nothing.
Say you haven't because you just said you
have not changed nothing.
No, you haven't because
we as a community have not changed
nothing. You
nothing.
said you scared. I'm not scared. You just said you scared. I'm not scared.
Absolutely.
So you haven't made progress. Your mindset has not progressed.
As a community mind, if I say
I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about the community. I'm talking about you.
Forward with that.
I'm talking about you. I asked you a specific question. Don't try to bamboozle me. I asked you.
Bamboozle?
Yeah.
What is it a bamboozle?
I like that word because Denzel used it. That's why I like it.
Ain't nobody trying to sit here and fool you because that's what bamboozle means.
And maybe I should have said we. When I say like the civil rights movement, whatever, there's still institutionalized racism. But I asked you a question specifically.
So how is that we haven't passed it?
You said you would take it until you can get to a place. So what you telling me, you would suck it up, let somebody do you wrong when you know they're doing you wrong, just so you can get to where you got to go. That's what you just said.
Yeah.
So you will win.
I'm scared.
Okay.
And I said that before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it 3 more times. I'm scared. I'm scared.
What are you scared of?
Of not being able to provide for myself.
Do you believe in yourself?
I never have once had to depend on anybody in order for me to do anything.
So who you've been taking care of yourself, right?
Absolutely.
So
Since
what
my
are you
mother
afraid
had
of?
left this earth to go to where she needed to be, I have been here for Toni.
So what are you afraid of?
Of me. I don't like failure. Failure is not in my vocabulary.
Okay.
I'm not one who is familiar with it.
Make me understand. Toni, I'm trying to get you to make me understand why you were welcome or embrace unfair treatment because you're afraid. You just told me you've been taking care of yourself. And so, in essence, what I hear
Which means I had to sit there and take the inequality in order for me to take care of myself.
Okay, no, you're taking it on a whole nother level.
But that's what I said.
Okay, but
I
everybody...
can't go out there and tell somebody to kiss my behind because at the end of the day, the powers that may have be that are lined up against me, I still have to deal with that.
Okay, I
can't tell nobody that.
Okay,
so I
Toni.
can't go out and say, hey, Toni can't do this, and this because it is. No.
Toni, I get it. Because I've done some jobs where I've had to do jobs because I got kids, right? I'm just weird, though. Because when somebody did me wrong, I was like, F you and your job. And that's what I did, right? That was just me. Everybody's different. So I get it. But you do what you have to do till you can do better. But how can you go to work? Just say like this. You go to work. You got a boss that's touching you on your behind and your thighs and stuff like that.
Ooh,
and you let, well, I gotta take it because I need this job. That's where I'm at.
That's where I draw the line.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. Draw the line.
So we were two different places.
No, but that's why I'm all the way radical. I'm not fast that little stuff, but you gotta put up with.
We were in two different places. Sexual harassment, I'm not dealing with. Because if I gotta leave, you leaving too. Point blank, period.
Okay, and I use
if
that.
I gotta go, you going too.
I use that as an example, but I want to keep it in the spirit of what I was saying.
As a matter of fact, I've left the job because they told me I had to change my hair in order for me to take an account. After I have made this company thousands upon thousands of dollars, I left because they told me I had to change my hair. My hair was not professional enough. So I said,
how did
keep your coin.
How was your hair? How was you wearing your hair?
The same way I wear it now.
And I think it looks nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. So no, but that's what I'm saying, what you just said, because, and I get it, we all have to do what we have to do, right? But I was going to ask you, if I work where you work and you seen somebody, you know they did me wrong, and I called it out and they said, you know what, Imogene, you're fired. And you know what they did was wrong. Are you not going to say anything?
Absolutely. I've said stuff. I've seen stuff happen at my job, and I have told people,
okay,
that was wrong, and you were wrong for it.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. And I want to say to y'all brothers and sisters, especially my sisters, because we strong. We know that. Like, don't let fear, everybody got to do what they got to do. But don't allow fear. That's where faith and belief in yourself comes in. Don't allow, you teach people how to treat you. And I don't care. I know it does get scary when people have power. You are afraid. I've been there before when I know I was treated wrong. And it's a scary thing because you feel like my thing was, you can't be City Hall, and it's scary. Their powers. And here I am, this little black woman. I'm like, what kind of juice did I got, But it was this thing in here and my sense of me. And I'm like, no, I'm just afraid of something higher than me. That made me to be what I am. I'm not going to give them more juice than the creator that created me. You know what I'm saying? And so what I say, young people, y'all doing y'all thing. Old people, y'all waiting to roll out on the cloud, but we here. And I just think life is good. And we talk about progress and change. And it starts with every one of us. But don't let stuff like this just take you out. And stand up for what you believe. Don't let anybody treat you, wrong and you not say nothing. At what point do we let people know, look, you're not going to be devaluing me, And that's what I just take away from. So we kind of been all over the place and, but it was been good dialogue, it's a lot.
We got a little hype for a second.
Yeah, we did get hype, but it's all good. It's all good.
Sorry.
But you was acting like you want to do something. What up?
No, Ma, it was just like,
what? Wait a minute. What up? Wait a minute. Go ahead, girl. Keep going. What up? What up?
Yeah.
Close us out, Toni.
Oh, what? What are you doing? Okay. So, no, it was just that, I think we were coming from two different places. Whereas you were coming from more so of things that are being blatantly done to a person as opposed to me, things that are subtly being done. Like things that I can't really be like, boom, this is this. And because this is this, I know this, and the third. Things that I have seen, I will speak up on.
But that's the way it's done now. It's subtle. It just changed from blatant out, just straight up. Like some people still doing it. They get on press conferences on TV and they stop our TV shows, so we have to listen to them, and they're being blatant, right? So they're doing it different now. It's institutional, whatever. It's embedded in policies and stuff like that. So where even though you say, oh, it's not blatant, it is blatant because it's subtle. It's really offensive because you just think we so stupid that you can't do it blatant now and lynching us where everybody can see or whatever, or raping us or whatever the case may be. I'm going to wrap up, but I got to say this, right?
Right.
So now they do it subtly and on a sly. You feel me?
Right.
But I'm not with it. I'm not with the discrimination. We're women. We're beautiful people. We deserve to be paid for our efforts, our energies, our intellectual capital, our social capital, all of that stuff. Just because we're women,
right,
or we're whatever ethnicity that we are.
Why settle for less?
Why settle for less?
Why ever settle for less?
Absolutely.
And
We're all beautiful.
Subtleties of
We're
life.
all beautiful. And I still say at the end of the day, I got much love for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Let's understand each other. You ain't no need to be afraid of me or black people, because we ain't that. We're very passionate. We're hype and we're passionate, y'all know. But you ain't got to be afraid. And y'all want some real diversity, come talk to me, okay? You want to say something to me, ask me a question. You can say the black word. I'm not going to be upset, okay? Because we're keeping it real over here, right?
Don't be afraid to say black people.
All right. It's been real, Toni.
It has.
All right. Well, thank y'all for watching. Where's my music? What? What's up? I was trying to take me out, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. And see, they ain't even working with me. What's going on? But I appreciate y'all listening. Please make sure that you tune in next time. Go to our website, subscribe, drop the email address, share this video with somebody, okay? I tell you, it gets better and better, and we going somewhere with this, all right? Yeah, yeah. Woo! Deuces.
Bye, y'all.